Hey everyone, Richard Robbins here. Well, the numbers are in for the Edmonton Real Estate Board. So here's what I'm going to do. The first quarter is now in the books. I'm going to talk about January, February, March. Then I'm going to total the numbers for the whole first quarter and compare the number of sales done in the first quarter of this year to the first quarter of the last 5 years so you can see what's going on. Then what I want to do is I want to show you the average sale price of all of the different property types and what direction they happen to be moving. So here's the first slide, January, February, March. You can see, did 799 sales, right? Went up to 986, which was up by 23%. We're up by another almost 22% to 1,200 in March. Active listings, what happened with our inventory? Well, normally sales go up, inventory goes up for the first 3 months of the year. Active listings 7,100, then went to 74, up by 4.7%. And of course up to 8287, up by 11.7%. Now, months of inventory, supply and demand, prices going up, prices going down. That's what this is all about. So if you look active listings, okay, we had 7,092. Divide the sales into that, and that gives us 8.9 months of inventory. So what's happening? We went down to 7.5, even though your listings went up because your sales were up by 23%. Your listings were only up by 4.7%, which means our inventory starts to go down. Same thing happened again. You can see sales up by roughly 22, listings up by roughly 12. This number keeps coming down, which is good, which means if this number is coming down, what should be happening with the days in the market? They're going to come down as well. Went from 84, 73, down to 66, okay? And your prices, you can see here, you're at 339, 355, 357. You're not having a lot of movement right there in terms of prices. So compare you to what's going on across Canada. You can see Toronto has 2.2 months of inventory. Toronto, Ottawa, market's very, very strong right now. And then the second best market in Canada right now is Calgary. They're sitting at 5 months of inventory. And then we go to Montreal. Now it was for February for Montreal, Nova Scotia because of the time recording, the numbers weren't out. But Montreal 5.1, and then of course Edmonton 6.9, Vancouver 7.4, and you can see Nova Scotia is sitting at 8.8. Now here's your first quarter totals. So you can see if I add January, February, March up, 2015, we did 3,489 sales. Then what happened? We went down by 7.3%, 3235. Then we went back up 3376 by 4.4%. And now, of course, now we start heading down again, 3,200 down to about 3,000. So you can see we're down by 4.1% in 18 and down by 7.8% in 19. What does all it mean? What does it mean? It means no matter how we spin it, no matter how we cut it, we've got less sales. Look at this. Let's go back 5 years. 3,400, 3,200, 3,300, 3,200. You can see these were relatively close a little bit. And then now we've got the lowest year than we've had in the last 5 years. So no matter how we spin this, your pie is smaller, everybody, which means there's less sales available. Which means if you keep doing the same thing you've always been doing in the past, you're going to have less sales. Can't be helped, right? So what you got to do is you got to turn it up. You've got to market more. You got to prospect more. You got to make sure your listings are priced right. You got to make sure you're helping buyers make decisions. Now here's something I think you'll find interesting. You are standing right now in the best quarter of the year. Because if we go back to 18, 21% of all the sales that took place in the year, okay, happened in the first quarter. 32% happened in the second quarter. 28% third quarter, and only 19%. So if we take 19 and 21, that's 40. That means 60% of all the sales will take place in the Q2 and Q3, and 32 of 60 will take place in Q2. So you got to be thinking about how am I going to take advantage of this particular number. Last 5 years, here's your prices. Okay, and this is March year over year. 2015, we're sitting at 378, 43 days in the market in March of 2015. Went up to 380, roughly the same. Okay, 52 days. 372, we went down a little bit, but pretty close. I think you would agree. 57 days, 374, almost the same. There's not a lot of movement here. Completely balanced market, relatively speaking. And then, of course, now we're at the lowest price we've had in the last 5 years with the highest amount of days on the market. So pretty clear what's happening. What about your micro markets? What about detached, condo apartments, and your duplex and row? Last year, 446 was your average price. We're down to 424, down by 5% in detached. But look at this. Condo apartments, 239 to 214. That's your average price now, down by 10%. And of course, duplex and row, you're down by 5%, 351 to 334. So what's sort of the underlying message here? There's no question that 2019 has started out a little bit weak. And I think it's been pretty well the same for many markets across Canada. I think to some degree the weather had something to do with that. Stress testing had something to do with that. I get all of that. But here's what I do know, is I know whatever happened in Q1 is over. So in other words, if you had a great Q1, great, but don't get complacent because over 30% of the sales that are going to take place this year are going to take place in the second quarter of this year. If you had a terrible Q1, which I know some people have told me they did, guess what? It's over. Forget it. Don't be depressed about it. Like, in other words, let's get to work because we've got the best quarter of the year we're going to have this year sitting in front of us right now. So think about that. You got to get out there, you got to talk to people, you got to lead gen more, you got to market more, you got to make sure listings are priced right if you want them to sell, and you got to be much better at helping buyers understand why they should be making a decision to buy right now. But don't give up. Get into the game, and why not do this? Why not choose to make this, the second quarter of 2019, the best quarter you've ever had? And remember, everybody, it's a beautiful life. Make it count.